are German sovereigns that exist now.
Oh no.
They're called Reichsbürgers. Reichsbürgers. I didn't know this existed until maybe 6 months ago, and it's the same thing. They've replaced the Constitution with I think it's a German document that the current German country, Germany as it is today, was a corporation founded by the United States in 1932 or something of that nature, and so those are the ones that I've learned about, and those are the categories that I put them in.
How does the maritime law fit in, like with the flag with the little tassels on it? How does that all?
Yeah,
they get that idea.
My understanding is that they got this idea from the premise that most of the federal courts or most courts in the United States are, well, let's put it this way. They think that the only non-maritime court that's in existence is the Supreme Court. All other courts are what they believe are fraudulent, or they pretend to be non-maritime, but they are only actually maritime courts, or as they're the only legitimate courts in existence. And they'll say for whatever reason, and I haven't discovered the origin of this. Yes, they'll cite that the fringes on the American flag is a telltale sign that the court that they're in operates under maritime admiralty law, which of course has never been upheld and has been considered kind of ridiculous by most judges who have seen that for them. It is a fascinating thing that I want
to find the judges who don't think it's ridiculous, because you said carefully, you said most judges.
Well, I take that back.
That there are some judges that might actually take it seriously.
No. I'll also preface that. I have yet to see a single court case where maritime admiralty jurisdiction was established by any judge or recognized by any judge due to the fringes on the flag.
Let's see. Before I bring King on, I see that you're here, so welcome, King. Let me just briefly get out these super chats really fast, and thank you for the super chats, by the way. King, can you, while I'm pulling this up, can you give me like a audio check so I can make sure that we're hearing you okay? Anyone hearing him?
I didn't hear anything.
We can't. Hold on. 1 second, King. I think I know why. It would help if I would put him onto the screen, wouldn't it? Now say something.
Detain him first.
Now say something, King.
King, you're being detained. Are you there?
Nope. It's not me.
This will go one of two ways. Either you can say something, King, or we could do it downtown.
I'm not getting any audio from King. No audio, period. I can see him. Like I can see him. His camera's up, but I'm not getting any.
Is the person, the settler, or the agent for King here with us right now?
I'm not getting any audio from him. Do you have?
And notice he's. By the way, his name is capitalized. Did you notice that?
Yeah. Do you have another way? Do you have like a phone or something, King, that you can?
All caps.
You can use.
Oh, you know what? He might be getting the blue screen of death.
No, I see him. He's here. Like I just don't have him pulled up on the. I don't have him pulled up on the.
Okay.
The screen.
Right, so he has video, no audio.
He says, "Hold on 1 second." Okay, so while we wait on you, King, let me read these super chats. Valley says, "Can you summon demons, please? I want to see." You'll have to check out the Ouija episode from 2 nights ago, where Steve and I got up at 3 a.m. to have a seance. That was really fun. No, by the way, you cannot summon demons because they don't exist. Unless you ask my co-host, and he'll tell you something different. But
no, I don't believe in demons. But we are going to be doing more psychological experiments with that, though.
Belgraph's 1966 says, if Stephen Kyle-Switch coffers, I'll double my pledge. James Freeman says, so a sovereign citizen is someone that doesn't believe that the local, state, and federal laws apply to them. So cops, judges, and politicians, right? And then as Andring says, Amorne ad Mauius. Something Latin. I hope I didn't butcher that.
Ad Mauius.
King, I still can't hear anything from you. You might have to drop out and come back in and see if that works.
It means an inference from smaller to bigger.
Okay. Yeah. I'm not getting anything from King. Let me work on this. Let me work on this then. And can you tell? One thing I wanted to talk about, or make sure that we got to talk about, is the retaliation thing that sovereign citizens do, because one of their biggest assets that they kind of incorporate into what they do is liens. You kind of touched on it briefly, but can you go into that a little bit more?
Yes. Now, the FBI and other law enforcement agencies have coined this as paper terrorism. There is a bit debate on whether that's appropriate or not, but the long and short of it is they have been able to use what are called a mechanics lien, or just a lien that you are able to file at your state's or county's clerk's office, essentially saying that this person owes me a debt. And the lien is placed on the mortgage or the property of the person you're accusing of owing you a debt. Up until recently, it has been fairly easy to file these liens. You don't have to go through a whole lot in order to file them with the state, and unfortunately, they were very difficult to get rid of because they can affect your credit, they can affect your ability to sell your house. They can affect your ability to obtain a loan. So certain sovereign citizens have been utilizing these liens to against public officials like law enforcement officers, judges, and attorneys who won't give them what they want. So this, we're talking, and when we talk about liens, we're talking about in a neighborhood of the millions of dollars that they post these liens for. And it's only recently that they've been curtailed.
And what's the
now this would be, hang on one sec. This would be something along the lines of, let's say I think you owe me money, and I put a mechanics lien on something, and let's say you want to go to sell your house, and no, what is it? Does it cloud the title so that person cannot
exactly
legally
it
sell
clouds
the title?
So title search.
Okay, so it clouds the title. That's the threat that people are using for this type of thing.
Yes. And it can cost a lot, and before then, it can cost a lot of money to get rid of that lien, even if you find it's fraudulent. It's only recently that courts have and legislatures have been savvy to this type of tactic and have addressed it by making it easier to get rid of false liens, and also employing penalties for filing fraudulent liens.
Yeah, it sounds like paper terrorism, definitely. I mean, if you cloud a title, you are unable to sell.
Yeah, essentially they're doing, do what I want, or else I'm going to put all the make your life hell, by filing these liens.
Real quick, for whatever reason, King, I'm still not getting any audio from you. If you have a Skype or a Discord, check your email and send that to me, and I'll add you on, and maybe I can bring you in through through one of those and sort of pipe you in. But I'm not getting anything as far as audio from your end. So, just as an aside. Okay.
Is that just a civil thing, or is that a criminal thing too, to do something along those lines? I mean, I would figure that a false claim against or a false lien would be criminally liable as
yes,
well.
Yes, they have been they're considered criminal penalties, like a white collar crime.
What are sort of like the remedies that people can do when that happens to them? Like, how do they get out of that? And is there anything that can happen to like the individual sovereign citizen that does that sort of thing?
Well, it depends on the state that you're in. Most states have become well aware of this kind of tactic and have taken steps and measures to counteract that. So it really just depends on where you would need to go and what you need to do in order to get this fraudulent lien lifted. As far as what sovereign citizens, or as far as what you could face if you file these false liens, it depends. I've seen anywhere from, a kind of a slap on the wrist, like 2 years, to anywhere to up to 5 or even 10 years for filing these liens. It could depend on how many and how often you file these actions against public officials.
There's another aspect to them too that I don't think many people. I certainly didn't know this until I was looking into them a little bit ago. But the Federal Bureau of Investigations classifies some sovereign citizens as domestic terrorists. In 2010, the Southern Poverty Law Center estimated that approximately 100,000 Americans were hardcore sovereign believers, with another 200,000 just starting out by testing sovereign techniques for resisting everything from speeding tickets to drug charges. So for them to be labeled a domestic terror group, what sort of things are they doing to justify that label?
Well, I will give you those examples. There is, in 2010, as a matter of fact, 2 police officers in Tennessee were gunned down by a professed sovereign citizen and his son during a routine traffic stop. That was in 2010. In 2013, a Las Vegas couple was captured and charged with plotting to kidnap and kill police officers. This was in Las Vegas, and they had actually found, when they searched the house, they had actually found that they had made a makeshift jail cell that they were planning on placing these officers in, holding a court, and I use court with quote fingers, finding them guilty and then executing them once the quote unquote trial was over with. We're looking else. I mean, there was talk that I believe the Baton Rouge shooter who gunned down several police officers had sovereign citizen leanings, and his videos kind of demonstrated that ahead of time. Terry Nichols of the Oklahoma City bombings was also had sovereign citizen material found in his apartment after he was arrested. So these types of actions are what I believe are what makes them classified as domestic terrorists. No, not just the paper terrorism, but many of them have resorted to actual violence due to their beliefs. And I consider those to be like, the true believers of the group, that, the government can't do a damn thing to me, and I will do anything, and I'll employ any means necessary to assert my liberty, whatever that may be.
Wow. That's harsh
Steve,
stuff, man.
I'm gonna let you take over for a second while I'm gonna have to pipe him in through Skype or something. So I will be
so many questions
taking for a second.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. So let me ask you this, because do you see a correlation between the sovereign citizens and the narcissism that they think that they cannot be touched? I mean, we've obviously dealt a lot with Kent. Kent Hovind is a narcissist. These sovereign citizens seem to have this mindset that the government cannot do anything to them. Matter of fact, he went to jail for 9 years because he thought he was above the law. And to this day, he still thinks he does nothing wrong. He's actually trying to get it overturned. He's actually trying to get a government a gubernatorial pardon. And I think he may be trying for a presidential, but I think on that one you actually have to admit your guilt. So I don't know if he's going that route. But do you see a correlation between these people not understanding that they are not as untouchable as they think they are?
I think there is an element to that. I think that it goes into their own mindset that I am my own ruler. We go into the whole sovereign identity. I am my own ruler. And nobody can tell me what to do. Like, who the hell are you to tell me what I can and can't do with my own life? I mean, that magnify that mindset by a factor of 10, and then you kind of have the sovereign citizen ideology.
But they live in a society with other people. They're not the only people in society. They want to be a free man in the land and not deal with other people. Go live in somewhere in Australia in the outback by yourself. Nobody would care.
Well,
They
that's
travel all they
that's
want.
and that is the ultimate thing that I debate many of them, or I've tried to debate with many of them, that they do not believe that they have any